Welcome back to the Trev and Lev show right here on youtube.com where we talk SEC, Tennessee, and everything CFB. I'm Trev, he's Lev. Thank you for tuning in. And today we're talking Tennessee. That's right, it is the big orange reaction right here. Tennessee and Arkansas ends on Saturday night 34-31 final. Tennessee with the win at home. Levi, your initial reactions here as we kind of start to break this thing down.
I'm going to start out by saying a win is a win. And when you get a win in the SEC play, except for Kentucky maybe, other than Kentucky cuz that should be a giving game. When you get a win in the SEC, it's a very good thing and you cannot take for granted a win against an SEC team. That's the first thing I want to say. But as a Tennessee fan, this game is really disappointing in a lot of ways. As disappointing as a win can be, I would say. Very similar to the Mississippi State game in a lot of ways. A little bit different, a little bit more frustrating because you have the lead by a pretty good margin and you let them come back. I think that's one of the most frustrating things about the game for me is that you started rolling defensively and then you let up again and let them come right back into the game. And that's just really frustrating. I mean, on top of that, you have you're just letting them run all over you. You can't stop the run. And then the penalties are just really bad. Not only did Tennessee just keep committing penalties, but also the refs just weren't calling anything on Arkansas. So that's just upsetting. But I mean, and then your receivers aren't making catches on big plays except for Staley. Like there's a drop pass in the end zone that would have been a touchdown, and then there's one where just Matthews just stops running. So I mean, there's just a lot to be frustrated about in this game. I'm, it's a
Yeah.
win, but I mean, there's just a lot more head scratching after a win than you would hope.
Yeah, I kind of thought I think we were talking about it during the game, kind of texting back and forth there. You were almost saying like the defense looked like they didn't even want to be there. Um
Felt like it.
it definitely felt like it, and that run defense is we'll get into it in a minute, but that's not going to cut it. Um Kind of want to focus on the offensive side of the ball here since you kind of touched on the defense. Um I just thought it wasn't a great performance. It's the first time we haven't scored over 40 in a game so far this year.
Against
Joey
probably one
Aguilar,
of the worst defenses we've
mhm,
played all year too, which is really
not
weird.
not a group of five or a ETSU team. Yeah. Um, Aguilar, I thought had a basically a perfect game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nothing was on him. I think the weird part about our offense oftentimes is self-inflicted wounds, turnovers, which I don't think we had any this game.
No, we got
Um,
close. There was one really close
yeah.
interception.
Yes, very bad throw. I forgot about that. But I mean, I think he had a good game overall, and it's usually our problem is third down efficiency and penalties. And I
First,
think a
getting
lot of
penalties just stop momentum. That's a big part of it.
Mhm. a huge part, and it happens too often with this team, and it messes up our tempo, gets us behind the chains, changes our play calling. I think I was really impressed with this game though offensively was Itzelman played really well. And Deshaun Bishop, man, I hope he's okay. I haven't seen anything. Have you seen anything about him?
I mean, he was trying to get back into the game.
Yeah,
I think
I don't think. I
I
initially I thought hamstring,
I also saw something. I don't know if
but
it's true. I saw somebody on Twitter. Might have been Wes Rucker tweeting. It might not have been Wes Rucker. It was somebody was tweeting about what Heupel said after the game. He was asked about
mm,
Deshaun Bishop, and he said something about he doesn't see it being a long term thing. That's
okay,
just initial what Heupel said, and then also he
Be-
was asked about
breakout game
Staley.
for him.
He was
Hmm.
asked about Staley as well, and he said, I think his quote was, "Staley was behind me celebrating in the locker room. I think he'll be fine," or something like that.
I didn't see him get injured.
Yeah, he went out. He went out for a few plays. He might have came back into the game, but he went out for a few plays
Okay,
at the very least.
I guess my point is like best rushing game we've had all year. We were able to have our way with that, And it sometimes, the play calling is like we get away from that, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Hmm.
But the, it's just strange because the defensive line, I think, does really well uh, rushing the passer, and it's just like we can't stop the run with him. It just doesn't make any sense.
I think
This defensive line's still elite in my opinion,
a
but
big problem is the tackling right now.
Mhm.
It's just really bad. I mean, Tim Banks, his defenses, even last year was definitely the best tackling team that he's had. But the tackling has never been good. I don't know if they just don't coach tackling well. Like,
Mhm.
it's just the way they go at the person with the ball. It just doesn't seem effective, and they're just getting beat. And it's just you would think that this is something they would work on in practice, but it just seems like it's a problem week in, week out. Because it's like they're getting to the players or getting in the vicinity of the player with the ball a lot of times, like close to the line of scrimmage, but they're missing the tackle. And so it's like if you could just fix tackle, I think that would fix a lot of the issues if they could just tackle. I really
Yes,
think that's the one of the biggest problems on the defense right now is tackling.
I think that's what kind of I want to get to in my next point here is the run defense. I think the most egregious part of that run defense, like goes back to tackling, like you were saying. The most egregious tackling on the team is the defensive backs. I know Turntine led the team in tackles this week, but man, the amount of arm tackles, the amount of whiffs, Farouk is the worst of them all.
I mean,
He
he's
does
a
not
he's
give
a freshman.
any effort. He doesn't give any effort though. No effort in tackling. Zero effort in tackling.
Yeah.
Abs- and something we didn't touch on real quick. Spillman getting ejected for targeting, huge impact for next week. We'll get into that
Oh
in the
yeah.
next, or
That's gonna be
I think
bad.
it should be a Thursday release video. Um, that was unfortunate, but kind of getting back to that was a little off topic. Getting back to the run defense here, my opinion with the run defense, I think my biggest problem with it, you said it was tackling. I agree with that. The linebacker play has been awful. Um, Arion Carter, I think, is a freak of nature. He's an athletic freak of nature, and I think a lot of times he's out of position though. Is his biggest problem. I think he can make all the plays, he can make all the tackles. He's out of position a lot of times. Turntine, I don't think not Turntine. What's it? T-Lander. Levi, I don't think T-Lander can play.
I think the problem with T-Lander is he's not fast
I don't think he can
enough.
play.
He's not fast enough. I think he's got a good mentality. I think he has that dog in him. I just think he's just not as talented as a lot of other linebackers or as talented as we need
I
him to
think
be.
they took him out. Didn't they put the freshman in for the second
He
half
did
of
it.
that game?
I will say he had one really good
He did.
tackle.
He had
That
a
one
really
where
big stop.
he cut through
Mhm.
and got him at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
That was a
But
really good tackle.
that that play where you got him 20, you got Taylor Green 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You got to come up with that knowing you got all the help on the inside. You got to force him back to the
Well,
inside.
and
He gets
they're just
beat
not
from
taking
behind
good
the edge.
angles. They're just not taking good angles.
Terrible angles. Our pass rush is good enough. We're getting there on blitzes. I think Tim Biggs needs to be more aggressive. But man, our linebacker play has been the detriment to this team.
I
This run defense. I think
I,
that's where it starts.
I think that play in specific was one of the moments of the game where I got the most pissed because it's like it was
It
what
should
it
have
was
been a 2 yard sack.
it was third and
Yeah,
22, wasn't it, or something like that,
something
and
crazy.
they
And he runs
somehow
20 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
yeah I just it doesn't make sense. The defense has got to get better if Tennessee wants to win out or only lose one more game and make it to playoff. They
That's
have
kind
to
of what
get
I wanted to
better.
get to in a second here. But like one more thing before we get to that, I was kind of, I, your opinion on this. Are we running a slightly different defense this year? Because do we normally only play two linebackers? Because we're only playing two linebackers right now. We're
uh,
playing five defensive back. We play five defensive backs, two linebackers, and four down linemen. Have you noticed that?
I'd
I
be
think
curious to go look at footage from
Boo
last
plays that
season to
star
see.
position, right?
Mm-hmm.
But have you seen some of these screenshots, some of these pictures of our defensive line, of our like
Right.
pre-snap defense look? It's insane. There's five defensive backs on the field pushed 10 to 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. two linebackers about 10 yards from the ball, 5 yards from the ball. Levi, that whole middle of the field, it's like we're asking teams to run on us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
I
just
just,
run it up the
I don't
middle.
understand it. I don't
Well, and
understand it.
and when your
We need,
linebackers can't tackle either, it's like when the
uh,
linebacker's the only thing that the running back has to beat. It's like
mm,
they're gonna beat him because the linebackers can't tackle.
I know. I'm disappointed in the play calling, but mostly it's
I
been
will
the
say,
ability of the linebackers.
I will, which maybe I shouldn't say this because it's kind of talking about the Alabama game, and we'll talk about it in the next video. But I do think that Alabama's running back is hurt, and also they're more of a
Yes.
passing team, and I think that really
Yes.
benefits Tennessee. I think Tennessee is a better, which is surprising because before last year, the the pass defense was horrible, but the pass
Mm,
rush is really good, and I think we have some pretty solid. Colton Hood at least is a pretty solid cornerback,
mhm.
and I mean Turrentine has some good plays. Farouk, he's a
I just
freshman.
think his tackling is bad.
He's a
I don't know
freshman.
about his coverage. I think his tackling is
He's
horrible.
a
And I
freshman,
think
so that
the freshman corner has gotten a lot better too. We'll kind of get into that stuff in the Thursday video. I but I do want to talk about expectations for the rest of the season real quick. This is kind of off topic a little bit, but this is specifically about the defense here.
hmm
With this defense we got right now, I think we lose a couple more games. I don't think they're good enough because I don't think the offense has shown that it can stay super duper consistent because we have spurts where we'll you know
yeah.
we'll go like that. We had a drive. We had like a 2 minute drive near the end of the first half. I think
hmm
one of the best drives we've had all year. I think it was in the first. I don't think this defense is good enough to win us win us all the games we want to win.
I think here's what I think. I think that if your defense plays the same way it played in this game, I agree with you.
Mm.
But it is my opinion that they will not play. They're not going to be a great defense. I mean, we've come to terms with that. They're not going to be a great defense. But I think that this, in my opinion, this is their worst game of the season against an actual team.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean,
so
one. Mhm.
which, but also they, it just kind of goes back and forth. Like I think they played a pretty bad game in a lot of senses. But I think Georgia and did Georgia Mississippi State Georgia definitely scored more points on us. Did Mississippi State score more points than this?
Yes, 34
So I think this is a really bad performance, but this is also the least amount of points we've allowed an SEC
in
team to
those
score
games.
on us. So I don't know.
It's
I think the
that's
defense will get better. I think
that's an interesting point. One of our friends brought up though. They've gotten worse as the season's gone on. I will say that though, they've looked worse in my opinion. I think it's just matchup wise. This is
hmm
not a good matchup for Tennessee.
yeah, this
This is a run. This is a run first team with a. This is the
dual
first
threat
time we've seen
quarterback.
it. We've seen it. This is the first time we've seen our dual threat all year, and we don't do nobody does good with a dual threat, but we do not do good with a dual threat.
No.
Kind of moving on here, kind of getting ready to wrap this thing up. A lot of people have been talking about Heupel and his status as the head coach at Tennessee. A lot of questioning there. No, no, neither me or Levi agrees with those statements that he should be fired. But there is things to be questioned here.
I
I'd like to get into game management. Your thoughts on his management of the game,
I don't
and
like
you know what? Go ahead.
I don't like him switching up his play style. Like I
Mm,
get it. I get it. Most of the time you need to when you're up ahead and it's in the fourth quarter, to some degree you need to play to not lose to some degree,
mhm,
but I think it's really screwing him because it's not how he plays. It's not his style of offense isn't meant to slow it down and try and burn clock. I don't think he knows how to coach like that, and so him coaching like that screws him over. And then he just it I just think he needs to keep trying to score because that's just
The the offense is already as streaky as it can get. Why make it
I
more
think
streaky by running the ball 3 times in a row and punting it?
I think
Why would you do that?
the game really it either needs to be one of these instances where like where like there's very little amount of time left, and like you basically you just need to get the first down or whatever, and then you run the clock out. Like that's I think that's fine, but I think we're in a lot of situations where there's like 8 to 10 minutes left, and we get the ball back, we're up by 10 points, and we're just trying to run clock. I don't think you should do that. I think when you're up 10 points, you should still be trying to score another touchdown to cement the lead. You shouldn't be just trying to burn clock. I think if you're up by like 17 or 20 points or something like that, and there's like 5 to 8 minutes left, it makes sense to just run clock. But you're only up by 10 points. You give them the ball back, they score, they're only down 3 points, which is what happened.
Yeah, I think the I've talked about this before, kind of off air, I think, but I think the biggest thing here's what I'll say. I think that you know a coach. You give a coach how this is Heupel's fourth season, correct?
Yeah, he started in 2021.
You this is him. I think he lacks the killer instinct. The instinct to be able to finish games
I think he's
from a
lost
play
it.
calling perspective. I don't think he ever had it.
I
I think it's gotten worse. I think it's gotten worse, but he's played way more scared to lose a game than he ever has been as the coach of Tennessee, and and we've seen enough sample size. It's 4 years. He lacks the killer instinct. He lacks it completely. I don't think it's ever something he'll ever have,
Yeah, and I think
and I think we're gonna have to be okay with it. And yes,
Teams like
Georgia has
Georgia,
that.
teams like Georgia go for the throat. They're up, and teams like Alabama too. They're up by 10 points. They're still trying to score because they want to keep scoring. They want to run up the
Who's, who,
score.
who are the best teams in the country? The teams that do that.
Yep.
The teams that do that. So it is concerning. I am at a spot where I'm like, I still think there's a chance we win a national title with this head coach. I'm not thinking he's on the hot seat. I think this is the best team we've had. Like these are the best four stretch of years I've seen in my lifetime. Um, but you do start to wonder like, what is our max? Where are we maxed? Where's our ceiling? Because Penn State's was 10-2. What's
I think
ours?
there's a world that is Tennessee's max. I think
Yeah.
Heupel. Here's my thing with Heupel. I think he is one of the most competitive people. I know he's lacking that killer instinct,
Mm.
but I think it comes down to a lot. The reason that it's happening is because he hates losing so much that he's willing to throw everything to the wind to do what he thinks he has to do to win. And for whatever reason, he thinks going conservative and calling the game like that at the end is how he's going to keep from losing. And to be honest, the last two games it worked. It didn't work against Georgia. It screwed them over and they lost that game because of that. But it's worked a lot, so he's been doing it. It's just pissing me off.
I mean, I'm just waiting for the time. We're gonna lose one of these games. We're gonna lose one of these games because of that.
Well, I mean, we did. We already lost to Georgia. We should have beat Georgia.
True. True.
I,
I'm. I guess what I'm saying is we're gonna lose one of these games we shouldn't lose because of that. Yeah.
yeah, I just think he
Kind of
needs
getting
to.
in.
Somebody needs to get in his ear and tell him that it's not working. That's not working. He's just got to keep playing, coaching like he's
And yeah,
like.
I love him. I think he's a great head coach. I'm super excited for the future of this program. I still think we can win a national title. I think the expectation is we make the playoffs every single season.
And that's still on the table right now. You
It
get the
is.
job. You go into Alabama next week and you punch them in the mouth and you come out of the game with a victory. You got everything ahead of you. And even if you come out of there with a loss, you still have everything ahead of you. It's just a lot more difficult. So the season's still at hand, but
Mm.
they've got to get better on defense. They've got to get better at managing a game, and the receivers cannot take off. Brazel cannot have an off game. Uh, I mean Staley stepped up, so that helps. Got to keep injuries to a minimum. Got to get healthier. Got to work on penalties. There's still going to be penalties. Heupel's teams are always very penalty prone, so that's going to still be around. But I mean, we just there's just a lot to fix, a lot of issues, but I think they can fix them. I think this team can make the playoffs, but they just got to fix that stuff.
Levi, and ending up this show here. What is your who is your player of the game?
I think, man, I think it's Deshaun Bishop. You agree?
I would agree. Yes.
Him or Staley? I mean, I think more
14
so
carries,
Bishop though.
146 yards, and a touchdown. He put the team on his back.
Yeah.
I and I
Jordan
wasn't
Ross had a
expecting
pretty
that.
good game too, though.
True.
For defense, Jordan Ross definitely
Defensive
defense.
MVP. And he's had a couple games like that so far this year. But yeah, I think Bishop is I didn't expect it, and
He used to
I
be
thought we were
he
able
was
to
a
lean on
walk
the
on at one point.
we were able to he was, yeah. And I think we were able to lean on the run for the first time this season. It's great thing to see.
Hmm.
And I think he's definitely my MVP of the game as well.
I think as the season's gone on, I've gotten a lot less confident in the other two running backs though, which sucks.
I think
Um,
Thomas has the most potential. Uh
I think he's really inconsistent. The thing I'll say about Peyton Lewis, I think Peyton Lewis, he is not a speedster, so he's not gonna be getting big runs. But in the red zone, he's a pretty good running back. I think he's the type of guy who can get some yards after contact, and he really just he pushes, but he's not gonna be a breakout get like 146 yards a game or like a really high rush game. He's gonna be a guy that we utilize in the red zone a little bit. That's kind of
yeah,
where he's at.
I definitely agree with that. But yeah, with that being said, uh we appreciate you all for tuning into this uh the Big Orange reaction show. Tennessee once again takes home the victory 34-31 against Arkansas. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to tune on our Big Orange preview show that's going to drop this Thursday. Uh, be sure to follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, share this thing out. And yeah, we will catch you all in the next one.
Peace.